I'd like to mention to you about the budget is the fact that I've been an advocate of fair red light camera timing. I heard what Alex Slatley mentioned about the red light camera surcharge. And the one thing I'd like to ask again, and I know our time is about ready to end, is that if a surcharge is to be placed into effect, please make the yellow light duration an acceptable time and not an entrapment type of situation. And at these red light camera intersections, please post a countdown timer which will allow the oncoming traffic drivers to see what is going to happen before the light changes from green to yellow. And if somebody does blow through the red light, give them a ticket, give them a surcharge, but don't, entrap otherwise safe drivers. Thank you and happy Thanksgiving.
To you, Mr. McClaus. Ms. Meredith.
I thought you were going to ask me something. Calling me up? I'm coming. Set the clock.
Do you want to wait until the items come
No, I
up?
may not be here that long.
Okay, go ahead.
Rita J. Meredith, Baldwin resident. That looks familiar from the town of Hempstead, so I think we should have one kind of facing the other way as well, but that's just my 2 cents in my 3 minutes. Quite a few issues to talk about. I was opposed to the $105, and then when the discussion came about as to where the fees were actually going to be utilized, that was eye-opening to me. I just find it interesting that numbers can be changed. Just wondering if the discussion behind the scenes took place with the controller with regard to the ideas that he had in place. I have a concern, because again, most of the residents only find out in Newsday because they can't attend these activities during the middle of the day and prior to a holiday because they are working. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate that I work at night, because actually this is the time I should be doing other things and possibly sleeping, but in this county you can get no rest. The nice buses, that's a whole nother issue that was a grand plan from this current administration in terms of privatizing it, and it would in fact save the county and save the county residents money. We seem to be paying more in subsidy for this privatized project, another fail for the county, and also a detriment to the residents. Under probe, in line for a $1.4 million contract. Again, this speaks to the issue that I have expressed on numerous occasions about the lack of adequate vetting for the contracts that we have. We must act like we're our own country. We don't even reach out to the city of New York or the county of Suffolk to find out if any of these potential contractors who are getting multi-million-dollar contracts might have some issues, have a problem with that as well. Significant to what I'm always addressing is the homelessness story. And U.S. homelessness down, Long Island's is up a bit. I challenged the Long Island Coalition for Homelessness back in the summer when they made their bogus claim that they had eradicated veteran homelessness on Long Island, when in fact national statistics continue to show that 25% of the nation's homeless residents are veterans. So I don't understand how Long Island's homelessness can be up, but the veteran homelessness is 0. We have a significant issue that we have to continue to address in this county. We all talk about the epidemics and the heroin and things of that nature, but if we continue to refuse to address what we are not providing to our veterans in Nassau County through a system and an agency that for the numbers and the limited budget, because no one is bringing up that issue about the budget and the budget constraints that are impacting the Veteran Services Agency that is ill-equipped and ill-advised in terms of the services that they're providing. Thank you. I should be back a little later if I stay here longer. Thank you.
Rich, I believe it's Sharon. Correct, Rich, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a a comment specifically to you, Legislator Ford, but I want all the other legislators to be aware of it. As you know, another pedestrian was killed on Austin Boulevard a few weeks ago. The road averages at least one pedestrian death per year for many years. The redevelopment of the project, the Austin Boulevard project, has been in the works for many, many years, and people keep on dying, literally dying. I was very disheartened to learn that the project has been put on hold again for at least 2 years, I'm told, because of the reconstruction of the Barnum Mile Bridge. And I'm here today to say to you that there's no reason, there's absolutely no reason that a safety project like that needs to be put on hold because of a traffic concern related to the reconstruction of a bridge. And I would urge you and all the other legislators to take another look at that, because if the statistics are correct and prove correct in the future, another person, at least one more person, two more people will die. And as you know, I live on the other side, and I now have teenage children, and they cross that road. I tell them not to, but they do anyway, and it's an extremely dangerous road, and something needs to be done, and the bridge project should not stall that. That's the first topic that I want to raise. The second topic is on the tax for the ticket tax, the motor vehicle ticket tax. It's just a tax on further tax on us residents. I spoke against it last time. Cutting it in half is not the solution. The county's problems were created by a corrupt assessment system, corrupt and inefficient assessment system, which the legislature is responsible for, hasn't been able to fix. There's many other ways to save money. It's the burden on the residents of Nassau County is too much. This is really just another tax, and I don't think you need to cut any of the good youth programs that all the people spoke out against. There's plenty of savings all over the place. As you all know, there's constantly people being hired in the Board of Elections and other places because of referrals and family members, etc. There's lots of ways to save money in this county without asking the residents of this county to pay more and more and more. Thank you.
Legislator Ford.
Mr. Sharon, thank you very much for bringing up the projects that we are doing in Island Park, specifically along Austin Boulevard. And you're right, we have been waiting a very long time, to reconstruct Austin Boulevard and everything. We had the funding where everything's set for it to go. Unfortunately, what had happened was New York State came down and inspected all the bridges in our area. And I guess they might have done it through all of New York State. And they deemed the Barnum Island Bridge to be in need of replacement because of safety concerns. The Barnum Island Bridge reconstruction has nothing to do with traffic patterns or alleviating any type of traffic. What it is it is a safety project. And that bridge is probably well over 70 years old, and it needs to be replaced. And we were awarded funding by the federal government, and if we did not start this project as we are starting it right now, we would be in danger of losing that money. We'd go to another project, and then we would have to start the process over again, trying to get funding to be able to replace that bridge, which may take 10 years. Because of Sandy, it also helped expedite to a certain degree, the disrepair of the bridge. A lot of the trucks that went over were overweight, but they needed to go over because homes were being rebuilt, and the construction companies needed to get into the South Shore that way. So, I understand the frustration, and this is something that going to the civic meetings and reporting it, like sending information to the Herald and having community forums as well in regard to these projects, this was something that I expressed. And a lot of the residents who did attend understand the fact that, yes, we need to redo Austin Boulevard, but unfortunately, this is something more of a safety concern at this point because of the bridge and it's the condition that it's in. So that's why it's two safety projects. We had to pick one.
I understand what you're saying, but as you know, the gentleman that was killed approximately 2 miles from the bridge. There's aspects of the project that can be done at the same time. Children cross that road, the entirety of that road. The bridge is only a small part of that road. It's not true that county cannot do these two projects simultaneously. Maybe there's parts of it that have to be put aside because of the bridge, but there's other parts of it that can be done. It just, if somebody thinks creatively, somebody revises, tweaks the plan a little bit, it can be done. So I hear what you're saying is true, but it's not true that the Austin Boulevard safety plan has to be put on hold, the entirety of the plan has to be put on hold 2 years, and you know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you don't agree, but our engineers have said that, and a lot of our emergency personnel agree, the fact that we need right at this point to do one project at a time, because both of them are like big projects, and we're going to be redirecting traffic. But I'm sorry.
When you make a
it's just
choice,
that,
people's
yeah.
lives, people's lives are at stake when you make that choice.
Right, thank you.
Okay, that ends public comments, and I believe everyone who did put in a script had an opportunity to speak, even though we went over the 30-minute limit. And we will now go to the calendar of November 21st, and there are several items that are part of the consent calendar, and I will read those items. And by consent, that means both sides of the aisle have agreed to the items, and so we can block all of those items in one vote. Okay, beginning with item number 4, ordinance 182. Item 5, ordinance 183. Item 6, ordinance 184. Item 7, ordinance 185. Item 8, ordinance 186. Item 9, ordinance 187. Item 10, ordinance 188. Item 11, ordinance 189. Item 12, ordinance 190. Item 13, ordinance 191. Item 14, ordinance 192. Item 15, ordinance 193. Item 16, ordinance 194. Item 17, ordinance 195. Item 18, ordinance 196. Item 19, ordinance 197. Item 20, ordinance 198. Item 21, ordinance 199. Item 22, ordinance 200. Item 23, ordinance 201. Item 24, ordinance 202. Item 25, resolution 180. Item 27, resolution 182. Item 28, resolution 183. Item 29, resolution 184. Item 30, resolution 184. Item 31, resolution 186. I'm sorry, just in case, item 30 is resolution 185. Okay, item 31, resolution 186. Item 32, resolution 187. Item 33, resolution 188. Item 34, resolution 189. Item 35, resolution 190. Item 36, resolution 191. Item 37, resolution 192. Item 38, resolution 193. Item 39, resolution 194. Item 40, resolution 195. Item 41, resolution 196. Item 42, resolution 197. Item 43, resolution 198. Item 44, resolution 199. Item 44, resolution 200. 45, resolution 200. Item 46, resolution 201. Item 47, resolution 202. Item 48, resolution 203. And item 49, resolution 204. Motion, please. Moved by legislator Dunn, second by legislator Nicolau. I believe, since they have divided in the committees and it's part of the consent calendar, all those in favor of the items that were just called signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the items pass unanimously. And now we go to the non-consent items, and that begins with hearing number 1, on a local law. And Mr. Pulitzer, read the item and call for the motion to open. Okay, item 1.
Thank you. Item number 1 on the calendar is a hearing on a proposed local law, clerk item 540, a local law to authorize a voluntary partial amnesty program for income-producing property owners that are liable to pay fines pursuant to the Nassau County Administrative Code, Section 6-30.
Okay. Motion to open the hearing, please. Moved by Legislator Walker, seconded by Legislator Gale. Okay, all those in favor of opening the hearing, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, the hearing is now open. Now, who's here to speak on this item?
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Alciuri. I have my colleague John Bolognini here from the Department of Assessment. I'd like to at this point give you a brief rundown of the income and expense statements. We call them the ASIE. The purpose of the annual survey of income and expense is to comply with the stipulations set forth in Section 6-30 of the Nassau County Administrative Code while ensuring the collection of usable income and expense data in a minimally intrusive manner. To facilitate this, owners of Class 4 commercial rent-producing properties are asked to participate in the valuation process by reporting their incomes and expenses to the agency. The Nassau County Department of Assessment collects this income and expense data on an annual basis through its survey. The purpose of the survey is to gather data for statistical analysis that will help establish the full market value of all income-generating properties. The requested information is not used directly to determine the assessed value of the reporting property. Rather, the data is collected and used to analyze changes and trends in the levels of income and expense of similar rent-producing properties, both locally and countywide. The information provided aids the department in the development of schedules and guidelines that result in fairer and more equitable assessed values for all property types. In 2013, the I&E law was passed by the legislature requiring all Class 4 income-producing properties to file an income and expense statement, ASIE, with the Department of Assessment. The law provided if properties failed to submit a survey, they would be subject to a monetary penalty. The number of filings received by the department was somewhat impacted by the temporary restraining order in 2014. TRO has since been lifted. The law before you today allows commercial non-filers due process, entitles them to hearings, and to participate in an amnesty program.
Minority Leader.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Anthony Alciuri.
Oh, nice to meet you, sir. Kurt. I just have a couple of questions, but obviously I just want to clarify for the record that the legislature is embarking on a partial amnesty as it relates to fines that are liable for payment paid for statements due between 2014, 2015, 2016. And provide that owners will pay 75% of that fine, which would meet their full satisfaction. Am I understanding this correctly?
Correct.
Okay. So, but the first question becomes: this covers periods 2014, 15, and 16.
Yes, the calendar year. We are asking, let's say, in 14 for the 13 data.
Okay.
Today, we're asking for the 15 data because the 16 is not completed yet.
And what has been the compliance rate with those that have met that criteria for submitting that information since 2014?
Actually, I have prepared a 13-year study going back to 2003, but let's address the more recent filers. In 2000, for the 2013, which would be calendar 14, so let's talk calendar years from now on.
Okay.
So 2014, 66% compliance. For 2014, 69% compliance. And for 2013, 56% compliance.
Any perspective on the decrease from 2015 to 2016?
The year is still open. We looked at filers, and there are people filed over the weekend and filed today. They would be late filers, but the filings are coming in. So cumulatively, over a period of time, the 16 filers might catch up.
And so, the county, as you well know, has determined that they plan to generate revenue from this particular program. You had just identified that the county is at 56% compliance in fiscal year 2016. What would this amnesty bring that compliance rate up to? What are we looking to try to accomplish for those years going back from 14, 15, and 16? 5% on each year? I'm just trying to get an idea of what we're talking about.
I really cannot speculate to that, but I can tell you this. In calendar year 2008, the department imposed a penalty for non-filers. And in that year, we had 82% compliance. The following year, when there was no penalty, we had 80% compliance. And it has been trailing off ever since. The farther we got away from a monetary penalty, you got that first uptick, and from that moment on, it's been trailing off to what we have now. So I think the trend speaks.
I see what you mean. So, I don't know if you could answer this, because obviously I need somebody from the administration to answer it. Because from our standpoint, this seems to be something that is being proposed to fill a budget gap. As you probably well know, and not to look at things in a vacuum, the county is reducing the public safety fee from $105 to $50, and $55, I'm sorry. And by doing that, they are also proposing this to fill the budget gap. I mean, I know you can't really answer that, so I don't know. Mr. Becker, is there somebody here from the administration that can help us understand why we should consider our one shot for today? That's my question.
Legislative members, I'm going to have to take that back. I don't think they were prepared to answer that question, so I'm going to have to get that information upstairs, okay, and get a response for you.
Is Mr. Norton here today?
Let me see if he's available to come down, okay?
But I just want to make sure I understand. Is this perceived as a one shot? It seems to me that this is an amnesty program that is going into effect for fiscal year 2017 for calendar year 2016. Do we plan to see this revenue on a going forward basis?
Let me see if I can get Mr. North to come down, okay?
Well, while you do that, I can't see behind you, Fran. No, I don't see him. Is Maurice Chalmers? Oh, there he is over there, Maurice.
Hold on. Mr. Capel has a response to that.
I'm not looking, no disrespect to Mr. Capel.
If you need, Mr. Chalmers.
Madam Officer, no disrespect to Mr. Capel, but I'm not seeking or looking for his response. I rather want you to hear from.
I would rather that you go through the chair to have Mr. Chalmers come up and address us.
Okay, so then you want me to hold off on Mr. Chalmers? I can continue my questioning for.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Okay? Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I want to get Mr. Norton down.
As quickly as possible, please.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Sir? You can come back. We have to hold off on Mr. Chalmers for now.
Okay. Mr. Alcieri, the legislative Capel wants to elaborate on what you
Mrs.
just
Madam
said?
Presiding Officer, I wasn't done with Mr. Curry. You said to hold off on my questioning for Mr. Chalmers.
Thank you very
Yes, but are you
And go
not
for the
finished,
chair.
Mr. Alfieri?
No, I was not.
Okay,
That's
go
why-
ahead.
that's why I was gonna
Go ahead,
proceed back-
finish
go
with
back to
him,
that.
and then Mr. Capel will.
Yeah, I wrote something on it, but-
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
So, Mr. Curry, I'm sorry to put you at a disadvantage. Just one thing in terms of a programmatic standpoint. The report that you had referenced that talked about going back a few years, can you provide that to my finance director, Michelle Darcy? I don't know if you have the copy with you there or not. I know Mr. Norton's not here with us. If you do have that, that would be
You just walk in.
ideal.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. Let's have a look. Ms. Ecker, we just want to make sure, you had mentioned that the TRO, oh, that's it, that's the report there? Michelle will come down and grab, and she'll make a copy. You had mentioned that the TRO is now lifted. We just want to make sure,
Mr. Alfieri, do you have another copy of that?
I think, I can ask Michelle, she'll be happy to, Michelle, do you
Please
mind making
stand
copies
up.
for all
Yeah, I'll
sides?
make for him.
Someone please?
I'll make for all the legislators.
Mr. Becker, would you please bring that copy of that, Mr. Alfieri statement here? He has a listing of all of the,
Yeah, he just has to report. I just have one or two more follow-up questions, Mr. Curry, and then I'll be able to wrap it up. The first one, you had mentioned in your opening comments that the TRO has been lifted. And I just want to make sure we understand from your perspective, being from where you are in the department, that there are no other legal challenges out there to the law, or Denny can answer, I guess.
Colonel Denny, County Attorney's Office. The legal challenge that was brought by the Baining, the last name plaintiffs, is on appeal. They've appealed that, so that the county was successful at the Supreme Court, but that is on appeal, and so that is ongoing.
So it is,
There's no TRO. Tony's correct. There's no TRO, but they have tried. They have brought an appeal in the case.
Yeah, the appeals. Yes, I'm just going through my notes. Mr. Arcuri, according to our notes, according to our notes, we were looking at Mr. Chalmers' report, and Mr. Chalmers will come up later to explain it as well, but it indicates that the department used a 0.5% penalty in their calculation for survey year 2013. It's not clear why, but it looks like the 0.75 was not used when it should have been, which based off of the calculations in Mr. Chalmers' report from Independent Budget Review, is a $9 million difference. Can you clarify that for us?
Yes, any percentages of fines or penalties that we used were on the advice of counsel from the county attorney's office.
Then I guess that punted to Mr. Denyon.
And unfortunately, I was not part of that advice, but we will find out about that for you. Get back to you.
I think that's tremendously important to understand why the county in this program is not looking at $9.9 million in additional revenue. Who was a part of that discussion?
I'll have to get back to you on that. I know I wasn't part of it.
I would say, obviously, I know Mr. Capel has questions, and I have greater questions too, but I would consider that we motion the table when we get this information. This is $9.9 million that the Office of Legislative Budget Review has identified that should be there, and it can cover some of the very same youth services that I think we're advocating for today. Yes, it is.
and the hearing is ongoing, so there's no need to table it.
We'll try to get you an answer as soon as possible.
And I believe that, are you finished with your questions? Mr. Alfieri? Are you finished with Mr. Alfieri? so that legislator Capel can ask his question. Yes, no?
I'm sorry, Madam Secretary.
I asked, are you finished? Question.